Good morning. I'm higher vibrations, and so are you. I'm having some real crazy purging from the lung area today. I know a lot of people have been talking about that. It's something that many of us have been experiencing for different reasons in different ways. And so, from what I understand too, is that there is you can kind of follow it around the planet and see what part of the globe it's affecting at different times. It's kind of interesting. We've been having some really awesome, crazy energies coming in this past couple of forever. Really, it feels like though. What's really weird about I know we follow the solar flares because they have a assistive energy that comes through for us and to help bring our DNA back online, our dormant DNA back out of dormancy. I bring this up because I find this to be really fascinating. For some reason, they reported a B class flare. Like they only record. So I've actually, yeah. So normally you'll see it's a C class, and then there's numbers associated with the strength of that particular C class flare, and then you'll see, like so. I've actually lost my track. So then there's the M flare, which is kind of the medium one, and then the X flare. And again, there's numbers at the end to kind of quantify the strength of it. They just reported a B class flare, and I'm very interested to find out more why they did that. Anyway, that's my wonderings. Hello, Lindsay. She says, "Hi, Pamela. So good to be here, and welcome to everyone who's joining and who's here right now. Thank you all for coming." Um, she says, "Thank you for your service. Can you please explain how smoking tobacco and struggling to quit will affect or not affect a person's ascension? I'm struggling right now." This is actually a really good question. A lot of people on this journey do at some point find that they have some type of addiction. It's just a way that we've found in order to make it to now. I think, like we came into a lot of density, and in that place of density, there's been a lot of other things that we're working through and dealing through. So, um, guidance for it, I would, uh, knowing that it is not something that is assisting you, is useful to know. I don't feel like it will stop. Nothing at this point will really stop ascension. It just makes it so you're carrying along a little bit more. You're dragging along maybe a little bit more weight at the bottom of your hot air balloon, though it's still in motion and it's still elevated and it's still going up. If that makes any sense, it's just a more gradual process. Um, I would say for sure anyone who can and find the interest and need to do so, to pull away from any kind of outside chemicals. That a lot of reasons that there were there's so much emphasis making sure that it remains available to the public that there's a little bit more into that. So I mean, fill into your own experience. There's no right or wrong thing when it comes to ascension. It's simply what is easier, what can make it so it's less intense of an experience and what cannot. So if that makes any sense. Um, and you can do this. You've you're doing you're ascending a planet right now. You can definitely, you can do it. I smoked 2 packs a day at one point in my life. Like there's we can do anything. We can transmute anything also. So anything that's come into your system, we can push it through, guide it out. So good question. Vegan Vixen, hello. Holy crap. What an intense week it has been. I've been worried that I was losing my mind. I've had phobias about everything from weeds in the garden to water coming from my drain pipes. So this is really typical for most people, especially around the Lion's Gate. Even though we are in the 13th and no longer the 8th of the month, we're still in the Lion's Gate energy. Before it became so pronounced, the Lion's Gate, you would feel it about 3 weeks or so before Lion's Gate actually happened. So like the vast majority of July leading into August. And then it would be about a week, or so leading past it. This past few years, every year it's gotten more intense. You could feel it coming sooner and it lasted longer afterwards. So remembering that we're still in the Lionsgate energy, we're still having amplified assistance from the Syrian sun, amplifying what's coming from our sun. While this occurs, remembering we all of a sudden have extra quantity and quality of light that is here to assist us, to guide us, and to bring us to this place that we need to be in order to be able to heal the things that are within us and have been for a long time. And then everything that needs to be healed says, yay, you can do it now, pick me, pick me, pick me. And then you're just like, oh my goodness, there's like 50,000 things. It's asking you to pick one and to like just experience it, to allow yourself to be in that energy just for a moment. You're not savoring it. You're not like, I'm going to keep this forever. I mean, and when we lean into that for that moment, we can then release it, and a point to be made too is that this is something I just assume people know this. So I need to remember to mention this more frequently, is that the first, 3 to about 14 seconds of a thought isn't ours. This is a commercial from the ethers or from wherever you want. I like the word ethers. Like Medina uses that word a lot, and it's like, okay, that's a little bit more encompassing. I kind of like that. So like, it and so I totally lost what I was saying. That is crazy, because I jumped to, we are in a time of healing right now that is so pronounced that by the end of this month, I'm really looking forward to the end of the month in particular, because by the end of this month, we're going to start to be able to access some of the things that we couldn't access before. So these things that, oh yeah, so the commercials. So it's like commercials that pop up in our head, like the first 3 to 14 seconds. It's like, do you want this thought? Do you want this thought? And there, that though during those seconds, it's not actually your thought. During those seconds, that it's actually quite a bit of time. I mean, how many times have we 10 seconds back or forward on a YouTube video? That's very and you can say a lot in that time, and a lot can happen during those seconds. That those thoughts aren't ours, and we can choose to engage in them. Also included in this is the example of the emotion, of the fear, of like the phobias that the vegan vixen mentioned, these things that are popping up. We can choose to engage and say, hey, let's be buddies, or we can let this. It's like being in a pedestrian, populated, very busy pedestrian street. People are walking around, you can choose to grab onto these passersby and kind of force engagement on them, or you can just let them be strangers in a crowd that are passing through. And if we choose to engage, that's okay. You can heal through some of it while it pops into your experience. And then you can release this. So just to be clear, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about is things that are meant and moving through us. Yes, some of them have been within us for some time. However, not unresolved and unfelt. They kind of have been kept. I have a hair on my mouth. There we go. So I hope I made sense. I went to like 5 places in my head just now. So there's a lot of really cool stuff happening at the end of the month. I didn't realize. That's really cool. Craig plays with games. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. It's been a pretty awesome week, though. The past 3, it's only been 3 days but it feels like I've been on this download thing. Holy cow. So many downloads, and just existing in this in-between place. Really cool stuff. Vanya, what an intense week. Yes, just grateful to survive. How is everyone handling all the weird stuff? What's happening? Yeah, it's been pretty amazing watching all of this stuff occur and seeing how many people, and collectively speaking, are all like aware all of a sudden. Have you noticed that? Like all these um we call them muggles, right? We call them lovingly. We lovingly call them muggles. These individuals who just had no idea what's going on, and if you told them, they would get annoyed, upset, or something, are now like, hey, did you know this thing? And like, yeah, you know that. Wow, okay. It's been really kind of fun to watch. Vicky, hi from London, everyone. Hello. Yes, just such intense energies, crazy white noise and right ear. Right ear, yeah. I'm having a lot of right side stuff. My purge, I'm having this purge on the right side of my face. Like, it's just this stuff that's moving through us. Right side's back again. And swinging emotions. So love the support and reassurance here. Thank you, Pamela, and all the group. Thank you, Vicky. Yes. So the right side is the divine masculine side. Um, Last weekend, I would say the end of, so almost exactly 7 days ago, because it was in the evening for me, which would have been a few hours from now, maybe 6 more hours from now, would have been a full 7 days. There was a balancing of the divine feminine that had occurred that caused a lot of people some um, um, root chakra type sensation. And it was joyful and awesome. A lot of people had what we were calling soulgasms just out of the blue during this time. And if you didn't, that's okay. Just a lot of people did. And having this all of a sudden understanding of this connection with the goddess energy and just the mother energy, it's been really cool. And so as soon as that happened, now we're able to um, hold the divine masculine up so the divine masculine can heal. And so there's a lot of this emphasized energy on the divine masculine now, so which that is the right side of the body. So that makes a lot of sense. um Also, this cool like flipping, clicking, not in the ear but near to the ear, it kind of sounds like a fingernail, like this kind of a thing. The example could be made that it's similar to when you are going through a canyon, or you're raising your elevation in the on the world very quickly. Your ears kind of like get stuffed up and you need to pop them. This is similar. Hey, it's 12:12. Similar to what we do when we raise our frequency. There's it, not quite as much as of a physical sensation, though an auditory and sensational one. And so we'll notice some activations with the ears. It's like you're noticing that you don't realize that there's a constant sound, basically an underlying sound of the frequency that you're in, until you go to a different one. And it's like, oh wow, this is kind of a little bit different. And so this is really common. I think that's what you might be discussing right now. Um, Craig plays with games. Feeling better today, but it's been crazy. Yeah. Hello, Jackie. Good to see you. Um, Leah says hello. It's good to see you, sweetie. Um, Jawad says, "What do you think about spiritual ego? Spiritual ego? Do you mean the whole like leaving the ego behind and all that? There's I'm assuming, because you called it spiritual ego, that we're talking about something that maybe I don't know what that word is identifying. I do know that there was a lot of discussion for a long time about how, the death of the ego, kill the ego. Hey, 111 participants, that's cool. Um, and so I never resonated with that, and I didn't discourage anyone else to go down this path. It's not. There's all paths are correct, and they all lead up to the peak of the mountain. Some of the paths that people take, may have some detours and some extra side missions. And being that I'm more focused and that I don't want to, I'm lazy. I don't want to do extra work. A lot of times I tend to um, go this other way. So anyway, the death of the ego is not a thing. Your ego is an operating program of the system of your human form. It is a survival insurance policy, basically, to ensure that you will remain alive, statistically speaking. So therefore, all new things that are presented into the experience are often discouraged by the ego, because the statistical odds of remaining alive are better if you just don't have a life and that you don't go anywhere and don't do anything. That's why a lot of these phobias and things do come up. Um, and so the idea of being in harmony with the ego is that we instead um, allow that the ego be more in the passenger seat. Some people even put them in the back seat of the vehicle rather than driving. Many of us had allowed the ego to be the map, the road, the gas, the petrol, the vehicle that they were in, and instead of letting themselves be the one that in the driver's seat. So ego is very emotion based and very fear based, or I'm going to lose something that I have, or not get something that I want, kind of a response. And so when we understand that we're talking to a child that perhaps that was maybe not treated that well, and interact with our ego in this way, then it's a lot more easy to be in harmony with. I don't know if this is what you were asking. Jackie says, yay, they rarely report a B. Yeah, it's so weird. I don't really understand. Hello, Kendra. Hello, Christina. Hello, LS. Fleur de Lis here. Since Lionsgate, I've had a lot of upper heart palpitations. Yeah. Heart palpitations for sure have increased during these intense solar flares, not the B solar flare. I have yet to research what B means. I just saw it just a moment ago before I started here, and the mark. And I know some of you probably have seen my posts on either YouTube or Facebook of what the impact of solar flare on the planet looks like, and this was what the B looks like, which is just there's no red or orange or yellow. It's just this violet, indigo blue color. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah, so it's something you just don't see it, but it's something that wow, it's something's changed. So it's kind of interesting. Danita, hello, welcome. Um, LS says, what do you do when you're trying to get clarity on where to move? I am in Florida, and there's something that's on top of this. I put my cursor over it. Now I can't see the rest of what you wrote, LS. Let me see. I'll click on some. There we go. I just jumped. I did it again. Okay. Here we go. I am in Florida and weather is too warm for me now. I love the UK but visas are not easy to get and praying on this. Work from home. What do we get when we are so the intuition that I usually get is very broad when it comes to these types of life choices because they do for sure want to ensure that they don't show you the last few pages of your book, because then it ruins the story and the experience. It truly does. Though we just get this knowing that we're about to go someplace. And then I found that the reason I am in the place that I am right now is I kept getting go north. And so then I went north and then I kept getting some more go north. And so, okay, and I am, and I was getting it a little bit more for a minute before it stopped. And for that direction. And I mean, I'm almost Canadian, like how much far am I supposed to be Canadian is kind of what I was getting from it. Though we don't always get that direction. Once we put it out into the universe, into the cosmos, that this is something that we're accepting of, then you're given options, and options come before you, and sometimes it doesn't always look like what you expect. Stacy, hello, it's so good to see you, sweetie. Miriam, hello, honey. I don't mean to be demeaning, by the way. I say loving words. If it's demeaning, I apologize. I just sweetheart, lovely, those are words that I just love you. Tor Lindbergh, hello everybody. Vicky says flirt. Okay, we're talking to each other. Deb, hello. All I want is chocolate, trying to lose weight. So the chocolate thing, a lot of people are having this. So one of the things about chocolate is that if you can get dark chocolate instead of the typical milk chocolate or whatever, there are really cool things in dark chocolate, and the more pure and healthy, or healthy is not the correct word, I suppose, but the more pure, then it can be beneficial for your health in some ways, and to help balance and stabilize. And some of the minerals that come from it, you just really don't get from other things. So do whatever it is that you're drawn to do, that your body's guiding you to do. However, there is a distinction between a craving and a addiction. There are things that have been intentionally put into our food. We all know this, into our food products that are designed to make you want more of it. And one example is a particular chain that produces French fries that are soaked in things that are known to be addictive. So people will keep going back to that place. So just keeping in mind, and so it's hard to tell sometimes if it's a craving or if it's an addiction. And so the best way to figure that out is to omit that item from your daily food intake for a time and see if it's still something that your body's looking for. It's an interesting question. Wasn't specifically talking about chocolate. It's just that came up, and thank you for bringing that up. So Miss T, hi. Is anyone experiencing a vibration, like a fluttering feeling that moves around? Yep. in the root chakra. What's the meaning? Okay, the root chakra, cool. So you're having another activation. We all have a variety of activations in all of the different chakras in our body. We have more than 7 chakras in our body, by the way. There's a lot more. The primary chakras is what they call the 7. In this chakral region, you'll go within, you'll see 7, and then you go within those, and there's 12 each. So there are different areas of these minor chakral areas, as well as within your energetic body and the surrounding area that are activated at different times. Right now, with the mother energy represents the earth, Gaia, um, the forest, the fae, the gentle and lovely in the woods kind of energy. And so a lot of us are drawn to dig our root chakra, um, root dig our energy from our root chakra even further down into Gaia, and also to like stretch out in different directions, instead of just going straight to her heart. Um, this is also a lot of times when we're doing this, it causes a pleasant physical response in this part of our body. Um, I I have had experiences where I've been in around other individuals where it just comes on, and it's really um, like in the produce section is not the best place to have, a pleasant euphoric sexual response when if you're just walking around getting, lettuce. So it does occur in an experience that's pronounced like mine, or it can be this thumping. It can feel almost unpleasant, and it's a original occurrence when it first comes into your system. We'll notice this in the fluttering of the heart too. I think I skipped over a question I meant to emphasize, is that there's a lot more heart palpitations right now too, especially during the moments that are known to be in that moment we're having a solar flare. Um, these solar flares are here to help us. They're here to activate and assist us, and they bring our DNA up out of dormancy and into accessibility so we can utilize them and to assist ourselves. So we're going to notice a lot of these other kind of things happening. Um, I just skipped down, so I'm just going to let it be. Hello, Carmen. Good to see you, brother. Um, Christina Jod, I think she's talking to somebody. I think, yeah. Hello, Genevieve. Yes, so many downloads. One day is like a week of info or more. Yeah, I was actually thinking to myself, like right before I jumped on here, I thought, man, it's been a crazy couple of months. And then I realized that I was talking about 3 days. In my head, that was months, because so much has come through and down into what's going on. Right now, we're in a time of healing. And it's always been that for Lionsgate, yes. However, this is the healing that's being presented is being shown right now, and is being shown that it's much more long lasting, and meant to be very assistive for you. Most of the time, that's really interesting. Most of the time, we get Lionsgate, and it happens so quickly that we're still sort of in some type of a shock of the amount of light that's coming in for us. And so we don't fully we're not fully able to embrace the experience while we're in it, because it's still novelty before it goes. We're still getting used to it before it goes, right? And this emphasized long lasting expression is meant to allow us all to have time to acclimate to this higher frequency of light. So it's kind of, it's a way to get used to this frequency that we're moving into, and will keep in a sustained way. Um, and so being the time of healing that it is, this also includes things coming up from our pasts, things coming up from maybe our pasts of past lives, different kind of places like this. That's really cool. I actually didn't really know that until they just channeled that. That was a channeling. That's really cool. I jumped again. So here we are. Donna, hello. She says, hi, Pamela and everyone. How do we distinguish between Kundalini and Ascension? I would say that they go hand in hand. A Kundalini expression, or a Kundalini awakening is when we finally turn our flow of energy back on. is what it comes down to. So like we are a body, but we're also a conduit. So we are meant to have constant cycling of energy from God and Gaia through and out. And then we can like manipulate it, meaning manipulation by choosing where we want it to go and to what it to do and stuff like this. And it does cross within our heart center like a figure eight energetically if you pull back far enough, Gaia at the top, and and what we had been doing is kind of stopping the flow by doing a lot of things that we didn't even know we were doing. It was a conditioned response, something we were taught to do. 144,000. That's so cool. Welcome everybody. And so as we allow, pardon me, the movement of this energy to become um, to be able to go in the path that it's meant to, then we'll find this what they call a Kundalini awakening, where all of a sudden now the energy can flow. And there's awesome physical sensation associated with this. Lots of times there's a lot of root chakra thumping and root chakra, whoa, just like feeling like a really, really crazy intense orgasm, truly like that, just like and it can feel even unpleasant. It's just so intense. um Not always. And then during this, then all of a sudden everyone has a series of sensations revolved around this. During this time, well, a lot of us will notice the motion of our body. It wants to move more. There's certain, I mean, like this is when I discovered that it's okay to be in meditation and still move. So sometimes I'll sway when I'm meditating. It's just following the energy. You don't have to stay still. There's no rules. Um, and then in order to truly be engaged in this ascension expression, that while we're in this ascension, part of that is we need to have this Kundalini opening happen. A lot of us have already had it, and it's not always as pronounced. Exaggerated, I guess, is the other word I could use to describe what I'm trying to say. And then um, and some people, it's it's just much more subtle and pleasant and barely noticeable. So everyone's different, and no one is correct. No one is better, a better experience than the other, I would say. Everything that's meant to come through for you will. Good question. KP, several waves of hot lava flow through my body today. Interesting. I know that this energy that you may be seeing, I don't know. The light as it comes down from these coronal mass ejections, these CMEs, these solar flares, as they come in, they a lot of times will bring an energetic plasma that you can actually see move through a person's body, and help them in a lot of ways. Um, and it does this motion a lot more efficiently when there's a higher quantity of water within that body, pardon me, within that physical form. And so sometimes we'll notice, a lot of us will notice the need for drinking more water, and perhaps we're even taking on some weird weight that you just don't understand. And it has to do with with the efficiency and the assistance of this flow. So that's kind of cool. Several waves of hot lava flow through. I don't know if that sounds like a pleasant expression, because that doesn't, or that's really cool, though. Thank you for sharing that. Donna, whoa, pounding on the root chakra. Oh, wow. Yes. Yes, Pamela, you nailed it. That happened to me fall 2018. Had no idea what's going on. Yeah, it's really cool when it does. If you get down to it, though, there's some things that are just, I remember walking down the street, just going on a walk in the afternoon, and, hadn't seen a single soul the entire walk. And just as I was approaching some man mowing his lawn, I just like full on had a root chakra release, and I didn't really see him, but I could see him see me, and I was just mortified. I was like, "Oh my gosh." He noticed. He totally noticed. Um, Pauline, will everyone experience these symptoms as they awaken? Most people seem to be carrying on as normal. Yeah, they do. It depends on when we chose to incarnate. There, if you go off of what Dolores Cannon talks about, the three waves of volunteers, I find that there are more than three waves, though. It's to be noted that the reason that she had pointed out these three waves rather than four is that the fourth wave isn't really that all of the work had been done before they got here, so it's not. well, let me rephrase that. All the transitioning and transmutation truly was done before they got here. And so when they've come, really just their presence has done the work, which is true for a lot of us too. I mean, think about how many of your um, very useful and important things that you've done without realizing you were doing it on autopilot. You know, most of us do our most profound work when we are literally asleep during sleeping time, you know. So it's amazing how we can how much we can do without even really logically or intellectually being aware of it. Genevieve, I lost the heat when it comes. I love the heat when it comes. Feels like heaven on earth to me. That's awesome. I'm a cold person, so when people talk about heat, I'm just like, oh, you know what? Like, I like heat too, in its correct proportion or frequency, I guess. Colleen, hello. We are supposed to love everyone unconditionally. Hopefully, no one gets offended by you or anyone saying "I love you" or "sweetie" or other great loving words. Thank you, Colleen. I I offended somebody, but you know everybody has their baggage. I apparently called somebody sweetheart or sweetie that they didn't like, so I don't do that to be condescending. It's definitely done from love. So John, that's Fleur de Lis. I keep hearing from my guides, from fractal to oneness. I like that. Sounds good to me. Yeah, so that's exactly correct. I'm actually going to write that down. I hope you don't mind because that's a really good way to explain and describe the expression that we're in right now. Um, we are, you know, the reunited stuff that we're doing right now is all about coming back into completion, you know, and so we in some ways kind of absorb each other um, and as we connect and reconnect. And what I mean by absorb is that it's like bubbles. When so our heart sphere actually goes around our energetic body quite far. If you should choose, some people like, you know, pull it in. I know that when I'm around a very loud, obnoxious, perhaps a drunk person energy, and it's not that I have judgment, it's just like a lot of intensity really right now. I find that I pull my energy in. Like you can see it go, I'm going to be in here now. And just like, you know, you could, when you physically would do something like that, it'd be like, you know, don't touch. It's this motion of energy and this flow. Um, anyway, this heart energy goes out and in a bubble. And when we kind of link into somebody, Elsa Dillon, we'll talk about it as the spin. We have a spin, like I see it like a bubble. Um, and we'll like connect our bubble to another bubble in a way. And not always do we like merge, though often we do, at least when passing, we'll merge through the other person's bubble. My energy bubble tends to be around, you know, when I'm holding it closer in, it's around 75 feet or so, like that in diameter, and I'm in the center. And so, you know, people are going to cross that energy bubble. And when we do, sometimes there's this like popping through and becoming one. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, popping in and becoming one. And when we do that, then we can share the frequency and we find more balance. And we find out that we're actually not sharing anybody at all. It's we're each other. And it's a whole cool thing that is being made more and more understood, though. We can say that as we interact in this way, we are reminding each other of themselves too. So it's kind of, I don't know if that makes much sense. I'm trying to explain some awesome quantum stuff without giving like the 5 hours of explanation previous. So I don't know if that made any sense. I saw Trina talking over here. I wanted to see what there's a little. Oh, here we go. Hello. Hi, Trina. She says pain in legs and arms, shaking, teeth chatter, extreme agitation, pain in back by shoulder blades, super anxious, a lot of anxiety, and pressure head pains on side, hot flashes. There's a lot of stuff going on in particular with the first waiver. That's actually why I brought up the 3 waves of volunteers and I got distracted was that, or that was one of the reasons is that there's a lot of most of the people that I'm talking to that have almost identical symptoms to what Trina just said are within this first waiver group. It just is. So as the nature of the waves have come in, the first waivers came into a more dense, the most dense out of all of the waves energy, and there was a lot more to clear. They did a lot more work, intended to be in more keep it quiet, keep it safe kind of culture, as well as just a lot of trauma and things like this. And in order to be able to exist within this space, they came in able to be in that kind of density. And so when now it's time to move into this next frequency, there's a restabilization that needs to occur. And so there's a purging, and there's a recalibration, and a lot of profound and pronounced physical sensations and symptoms as a result. The shaking is one of the most common one, the shaking, as well as having a lot of stuff to do with like the sacral and even the solar plexus chakra, though often the root chakra is also included in this. So this is just something that's happening for a lot of people. The extreme agitation and the emotional bursts that kind of pop up and go through us right now is a typical experience for most of us. It can be a longer lasting expression or experience, or it can just be for a moment, depending on a lot of different factors, and then there's no judgment of self that, if it becomes part of your experience at that time and you kind of hold on to it for a minute, it just is, and I can, suggest a couple of things that we've been saying for a while, and that having salt water or Epsom salt baths or these types of things can really help. Salt water, and what I mean by this is to have it just in the area during a lot of this stuff that's happening. I mentioned that the solar flare is only a B flare, though we have a lot of ionization that needs to happen in our house, not just in our bodies. So an ionization process is that your body wants to be at negatively charged ion, or wants to be full of negatively charged ions, and when we that's the good stuff, and the noise and the static and all this ickiness is the positively charged ones, and they become positively charged in a more increased and quick way during a solar flare, where we're getting these energies from the sun. And so that's why we go and we put our feet on the ground and things like that, is to ionize as well. Though we find during a lot of solar activity that we have an ionized environment that around us is just a lot of this stuff in the air and stuff. So what we do is we have salt water in the area near to you, having I will fill up the bath part of the way with water and put some salt in there. We'll often have like little buckets or pans that have water and put a little salt, and just have it nearby. It science is backing this up, that it does ionize the air for you and assist that process. So that's some of the things you can do to help yourself, and just knowing that you're not alone, and that this is a temporary thing, that this isn't how it's going to be forever. This is how it's going to be for right now, and to try to be okay with it and just kind of breathe through it is the best suggestion that I can give on that. And that's just kind of my experience. So if anyone has any other ideas or suggestions for Trina and helping this stuff go through, I know a lot of people are having the same thing. Jenny says, earthing sheet is good. Hurting during the day, but I can sleep. I'm glad you can sleep. Earthing sheet is sheets. I've heard about these. These are definitely, so earthing is what we were talking about, putting your feet on the ground, your bare feet contact on Gaia, assists us to ionize and to do this other thing that they call earthing now. I think it's awesome that they finally, that psychology or science is finally saying something that's cool about this, because I had seasonal depression. I had like profound seasonal depression. I found it would always hit me around, I don't know, March or February or so. And I found that I like to garden, and I started to bring gardening, big things of pots full of dirt to kind of start the seedlings and stuff. And when I would do that, then I was better. And I knew that there was, something to be said about gardening. Everybody knew that gardening made you feel happy and stuff. And anyway, we started to do it regularly, and we found, so 10 minutes a day. I was doing a week, so use your own judgment. However, it takes twice as long to do it with your hands than it does with your feet, because the pores on the soles of your feet are the biggest pores in your body, and that's how they're designed. They're on the soles of your feet because we walked the earth barefoot so often. This is just a natural exchange from you and Gaia to assist this balancing. Um, and so you can just play with it with your hands too, and involve your children or whoever. You don't even need to be able to have that much soil. That You don't need to dig your feet into the soil. You're just we'll sprinkle it on a plate and just put our feet on it sometimes, and it's not bad soil after that either, by the way. I've never done the same soil for longer than a winter season, so I don't know. I just know that for that length, it's great. Kendra, Pamela, I'm having sensitivity on the top of my head sometimes tickles, but recently itching and extreme soreness is something to do with my crown chakra. Yes. So I've been having this too. Over the years, it's been different manifestations of it, or experiences. Though for right now, I'm noticing it's like it's kind of a little bit back, though it's still at the top, and just like you said, almost sore. I know that we are undergoing some pretty amazing activations right now. When we look back on this and we find out what we really had done, it's going to be kind of fun, because we don't really have. We're just in the moment. We're just doing what we can in front of us. This activation has to do with a really cool chakra that most of us haven't been accessing for a long time. In fact, I mean, I didn't not know that it could have been there, I suppose, though I just didn't realize its presence. And so as we are meant to notice it, then we'll have a pain sensation, a soreness. Also feels kind of like something's leaving through the body, causing a light headache, very dull headache. Like there's something happening there. Often too, this is during a time that we're being asked to be in silence when we can, in order to get whatever download is being brought to you at this time. And so just keeping that in mind. Trebla says, thanks, Pamela and everyone. Has anyone else had issues with teeth and gums? Yes. In fact, just a couple of days ago, I noticed the gum thing again. Typically, I've been noticing that. So for me, I'll get a headache in my upper gums when we're getting a solar flare. So this gum thing that I'm talking about is specific to when we get solar flares. However, all kinds of dental, oral, and just trauma and difficulty as well. A lot of things people are having for this throat chakra region, this throat chakra activation. Most of us are still undergoing. We don't have any kind of like there's no rule, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is that we'll have several chakras coming online at one time. Sometimes we'll activate a chakra out of order than other people. I'm trying to be clear that everyone's different, and yet everyone does the same thing eventually. It's just in the order and how it comes through. Having said that, for me, my manifestation of it was that my teeth started to separate. They started to have gaps. I started to have gaps in between my teeth when I never had gaps before. And for my experience, that actually caused damage to my teeth behind it. So I actually have a couple of missing teeth. That's why I smile the way I'm doing. I'm very self-aware that I have these teeth that are missing. And it truly doesn't matter to anyone except for ourselves. And so I think that's also part of this, being able to move past what it means to be whatever the identity that you're taking on at that time. So having said that, while you move through these areas and these different things that feel like trauma or something that's unpleasant, we're noticing this area of our chakra. For us to be able to move through the expression or the experience that's occurring more rapidly and efficiently, we will notice that happens as a result of focusing on that chakra, helping with that chakra, working on that chakra. A lot of when we're having oral, dental, throat, and sinus related stuff, bringing that color into your experience, this sky blue color, this Archangel Michael blue, Mother Mary blue color into our experience will assist in the balancing of it. It's difficult to find blue foods, though, blueberries, and things like that. Though I found that it also works to consume things from vessels of that color. So if you're having an issue with it, having a blue cup, that you drink your water from for that time or something like that. This is just a couple of different examples of it. You'll notice that as you leave the winter months and go into spring, that all of a sudden you feel healthy, and that you feel balanced and you feel healthy. And that's because all of a sudden we're surrounded by the color of green. Green is the heart chakra, but it's also the healing center color. And so it promotes the healing, the balance, and the harmony. So bringing the color in does really help. Janice says, what you describe as a band around the head, I get it, around my breast and my back. Heart chakra, maybe. This is a very good question. Thank you, Jana. And a comment. So there are, for many of us, we will find that there are multiple manifestations of us in different frequencies currently incarnated simultaneously. We try to put them into a box of linear time, and so we call it past, present, future lifetimes. However, they're all simultaneously incarnated. And so in this timeline, and the way that time is had here, they are from the past or the present, or the future. Having said that, we are connected to these other energies and these other bodies. And so we are very much feeding and moving energy and experience through each other as we go. Some of the downloads that I get are from myself that, aren't truly myself, but they're myself. And so, as we are doing this, we are finding that there's what's a good way to say it? So there are some of us that have another need for balance, like some additional support of recalibration and assistance. And so we'll find that some of these beings are in places that are similar to a med bed, that have these cool crystal light things that are around and on parts of our body to accelerate that assistance for us here. And so we will notice a manifestation of this through a physical expression or pressure feeling. We'll notice it. And then when we feel into it, you'll know if it's true or not, because this might not be the case for your expression or your experience you're talking about. I've noticed that particularly with the headband. And I've been there, and I've noticed that there are a variety of mechanical light is what we call them. They're made of light and crystal, though we call it mechanical because it's a tool. Mechanisms on or around the individuals that are in different areas of the body. So I've noticed a lot of people have them around their waist, like a lap band, as well as quite a few who have these assisting focused energies on the area of the ankle and feet area of the body. And so I'm not saying that's it. That's what I was reminded just now while you mentioned it. And so, Fleur-de-lis, thank you. And you are an angel. Oh, 1111. Thank you so much. That was really kind of you. Jenna also says, my front teeth are now porous, and I have a molar with a crack. Always had nice teeth, but they shifted a lot the past year. Yeah. And the shifting there, damage can occur. I like I said, I had some issues with it too. Knowing that you're in this throat chakra space, you can also try. I know some of you know what light language is, and other you have heard it in the wording of speaking in tongues, and it may have some type of baggage associated with it for you. However, if you can allow yourself to just tone and just let whatever comes out, just making noises or just harmonizing and just letting different kinds of things come through your throat, you'll find that this will assist. This will truly assist you and find some balance, find a little bit more of equilibrium, I guess is the word they want me to use. I don't know why that fits there, but that's what they're saying. It gives an equilibrium. And so to be able to better emphasize the power being focused on this throat chakra area. I'm having a lot of throat chakra stuff right now too. I don't know if you've all noticed, there's been a lot of clearing of the throat. This all started when I had this amazing connection with um, Todd Medina from Soulology has this really amazing platform where he delivers information and messages to people throughout, a period of several decades, I guess. And I was given the opportunity to talk about some of the things that I've not really expressed to people. For the most part, the reason that I've not talked about it is that um, I felt like it wasn't time, and I thought that was due to the fact that it would put me in an unattainable place, that I come from a lot of really intense abuse and things. And so um I hadn't talked about it and that much, and never in my life during like a whole, from start to finish. We talked for 2 hours, and it's available for anyone who's interested in looking at it. I bring this up because I had blamed or given the cause for my throat chakra stuff I to do with this talking and healing through these things that had been kind of kept quiet. Um, and I believe that a lot of it started there, though we're definitely having a lot of throat chakra stuff right now. It's a big deal. Before I get too far off of that too, just to remind everybody that a lot of us are going to be going to the Soulology Festival, which is, it's in December. The reason we bring it up right now so much is that there's the early bird tickets available now, and I think that the early bird tickets end in September or something like that. So I have to make sure. And so anyone who is interested in joining us, I'm going to be able to do live in-person sessions, and I'm really excited about it. I've only done live in-person sessions with like a couple of people who are awakened. Most of the time it's like a stranger or somebody who just random, and I'll usually let my, Pamela be involved, and I'll say, I don't know why I'm saying this, and I'll tell them something that they needed to hear, and then I'll say, I know that was random, bye, and then I'll just wander away. And then you see them or hear about them later on, and they're different. They're different in a very beautiful and awesome way. And though I'm just looking forward to doing so many more of these in person, because they're going to be so cool. So anyway, if you are there, I'll be there doing sessions. And Jackie, thank you so much. She posted here in the live chat. For those of you on replay, you can go back to the live chat and see that Jackie's posted the 2-hour conversation I had with Todd Medina the other day. And also, by the way, I know I don't want to fill us all up with commercials here. I was going to let you know that in 8 minutes, in an hour and 7 minutes. So, after this and then an hour. So we're going to have a conversation with Elsa Dillon and Todd Medina. And it turns out he's posting this on all social media platforms. So you can watch it at soulologynetwork.com, on YouTube here, or through the Soulology group or whatever they're called on Facebook. And Facebook, yes, that's what it's called. I'm still trying to not call it MySpace. That's how I've not been involved in social media stuff like that for a while. MySpace, remember MySpace? Anyway, question, says CJ. Hello, CJ. Obviously the purpose of Ascension is to take on more light. But why exactly? Light bodies? You say it's temporary. Newbie here. Thank you and welcome. It's a really good question too. So temporary meaning the Ascension symptoms, the experiences that we're having, that we're noticing it feels kind of like instability, or something's off kilter with our mind and body, mostly our body, starting to see things like this. We all have these gifts, these powers, these superpowers, right? We're superheroes, and in a lot of ways that have been then put into a different format in a comic book kind of way. Though we really do, we have mind powers, emotion powers, ether powers. We can physically change our expression in front of us and things like that. A lot of us are just learning to do it, and that it's coming online. And so that's part of the ascension process. But the main thing that we talk about with ascension is the purging of the frequency of the density that we've been collecting, that was perfectly aligned for the frequency we were in. And now to ascend is we are taking on more light, and then therefore, like you said, becoming a light being, a body with more light, in containing more light. And as we do that, there are things that a denser experience could very easily call team body that we're now noticing are not in harmony with our form. And so we're purging those things, and some of these, what we would call toxins, because a toxin is a chemical or a substance or something inside your body that's not in harmony with you anymore. We're finding some of these toxins have come from a line of family members that we weren't even incarnated when that occurred. For instance, your mother's egg that became you was fully developed in her womb while she was in her mother's womb. And so you're showing the example of two other generational phases of toxins and metals and whatever you want to call it that you had collected, and they had collected in their body and then given to you. And so now we're purging them. And as we do, we find that there's a lot of other cool things that are happening that maybe make us feel crazy. You're not crazy, and you're not alone. That a lot of us are doing this, and this is, you are now joining into the awakening experience during the biggest awakening ever done in all history. And we're not talking about planet Earth history. We're talking about the history of the all things expression. And so there's a lot of investment in this and assisting stuff. So that's why we're noticing so many weird, like once in a lifetime astrological events are used to be like, wow, my grandpa saw that kind of thing. And now it's like, it's not even a big deal anymore, because there's so many once in a lifetime astrological events occurring. This is one example of what is being shown to us, that we're being given support and helping us through this. So I don't know if I truly answered your question, CJ, but I hope that I kind of helped you a little bit. And welcome. Christina says, Pamela, can you speak about the lack of intimacy due to not wanting to share energy with another? Not a lack of love, but a need to be alone and not be influenced by intimate contact with another. Yeah, totally. So a lot of us identify this feature, this moment, this movement from the intertwined energy into this your own energy space. When we're first pulling into this awakening place, we call it, like, usually introvertism. You're being an introvert or something like that. It's just a natural course. See, for the longest time, you're all empaths. We're all able to experience and to know what's going on in the mind, and also sometimes the body. Emotional body is what I mean by the mind, truly, not really so much thoughts, of all those around us. And so as we are meant to kind of get an idea of what your energy really feels like, you're meant to kind of pull back from other people's energy, because then you can see who you really are. And then you realize, wow, I wasn't those things. I don't have anxiety. I don't have, these things that I had identified myself with. And starting from that clean slate, then you can start to choose. Then you can start to choose what interactions you do want to move into your energetic bubble, and that it's no longer assumed consent. It's a consent. It is then required. And so this is a very pivotal and important moment. Of everybody goes through something like this during their awakening at some point. It's different on when it happens for everybody. I found that when I was about to undergo the most pronounced ascension expression, that all of a sudden I did not want to hug anybody. And before that, I was like hugging everybody, like every person, and like, I'm a hugger. And then I was like, why are you touching me? What is, get away, like I just, it was very overnight. And I needed to pull away to experience my own energy and then find out what that was. As we then move into this uptick frequency that we're in and going into for the remainder of this particular month, holy cow. And tomorrow's the 14th. Holy cow. Anyway, so there's going to be a lot more of this balancing of your energy, and then rejoining like pulling away and then coming back, and so allowing yourself to do that and to honor yourself, to take the breaks that you need is the best thing that you can do for yourself and for those around you. Remembering that your own healing is helping those others around you as well, and not only who are directly around your vicinity and proximity to your physical form. We're talking about and all the way through. And so while you heal through something, then you're elevating the other person who was encumbered by um the density of that particular trauma that needed to be looked at and healed. And so you're assisting everybody. And as we assist everybody, then everybody's balance becomes calibrated enough that it doesn't feel icky to be in their energies. The reason that the energy doesn't feel very good when we move into it that these energy spheres of other individuals often collect energies that don't belong exactly with them, and they don't allow their energy bubble to expand so within the heart center, allowing that particular part of it to expand to the width of, or the length, the circumference of their energy sphere. There's an outside bubble, right? You're in a bubble. You're always in a bubble. We're all in bubbles, and we are bubbles. That's what we are. And so um and what happens when they don't push out the energy that far is there's this little place in the middle between their heart energy bubble and their energetic bubble, where these energies kind of get stuck. They're not really necessarily interested in staying. They're not over enthused about going either. They just kind of are there until we grow our energy out. And how we do that is we breathe in through our nose, pulling in the light of God down in through our form, expanding our belly, noticing our diaphragm expanding, growing out. That's the natural breathing form right there, right? Your diaphragm. And as it breathes out, then pulling up the energy from your root chakra into this place where you've contained this energy, holding it for 3 to 7 seconds, and then expanding it by blowing out through the mouth, exhaling through the mouth, and expanding this energy bubble, this orb of light. What this is the soul fractal of you. This is you, and letting that grow. And as it grows to the size or bigger than your energy sphere, all those little like noisy, kind of distraction-y, icky, and like you don't even know why you're frustrated or irritated. It's just like you just know that somebody left some obnoxious noise going on in the back room. Until they turn it off, you don't realize that it's bothering you so bad. That kind of stuff. And then just pushing it out. And then you've cleaned your entire energetic form and you're back to golden again. So Carmen, you supposed to lose people in your spiritual journey. That's true. That's also true. Exactly. And the wording would be that we shed relationships that do not serve us. And we often will like force these relationships to continue because we think that, it's just us that's being affected in a negative way, and we'll just help this other person, though we're not helping anybody. We're really not helping anybody if this is a forced interaction. We're not serving them. They're not serving us. Love you. Goodbye. Kind of thing. And there's a natural way that this is done. And like we kind of have different labels and words for it in society in a social manner, though this is just a natural parting of ways. And so I would say that the vast majority of the relationships that I have nothing to do with the ones that I have today. Like that's just, there's only a few individuals from my previous experience of this incarnation that are still around. And that's just, they're kind of not even really around. They're just kind of in the background. And that's not the example of what everyone is going to have happen. That just happened for me. I came into a place with a lot of density, and so a lot of my early relationships and social interactions that weren't the healthiest. And so it was really good at the time for me to see how to be healthy and also to leave. So anyway, it's past 1. I do need to get going so I can prepare for that conversation with Elsa Dillon and Todd Medina. We're going live in just under an hour, so it will be through Soology. Soology One Studios is as how you search it on YouTube here. Soology, and we'll be having a great conversation about Odin and dragons and just a lot of uncoding and decoding and unlocking of a lot of really cool things. So I love you all so much, and thank you for joining me today. And I will be back, same bad time, same bad channel next week. Sending you all love. Aho blessings.